Hi everyone, welcome back to school and welcome back to art. My name is Leslie Autry and I am going to be helping you with art this year, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Today we're going to be starting out our art classes with the colored pencils that you received in your school kit. There's a box of 12 colored pencils and that's what we're going to be using. So grab those. You will need a pencil sharpener. Make sure that your pencils are ready to go and sharpened so that you're not at the last minute sharpening pencils. Grab a pencil eraser. You may or may not need it. And you may or may not need a ruler, but if you want to use a ruler, please have it ready for yourself. And paper. You can grab paper from your family's printer, or if you have a journal or a sketchbook. Anything that you want to use, but I would like us to use the same type of paper for each of our pencil drawing classes for future weeks, because we'll be using the pencils for a little bit of time. Also, I want you to grab something in your house that has a round template that you can use. This is just a plastic cup that I had in the studio, and I'm going to be using it as a template. I'm going to be laying it down on my piece of paper and tracing it. So if you have something around your house that you could use as a template, that would be great. If you can't find anything, you can hand draw a circle, no problem. It's just a little easier to use a template. Also, I want to remind you about pencils. So as you know, pencils have a long piece of lead down the center, and it's wrapped in wood, and then it's painted. We all know what a pencil looks like. But I wanted just to let you know that that piece of colored lead is a little bit fragile. And if it rolls off your desk, or if you accidentally drop it, that lead inside the pencil can shatter. And what that means is that when you go to sharpen your pencil, it could just keep breaking. I don't know if you've ever seen a pencil that when you sharpen it, it just never seems to get a point. It just, you keep pulling like a piece of lead out. And that's because that pencil has, at some point, it's been hit or dropped. So just be careful with your pencils. They are somewhat fragile, okay? And then I also want to let you know that you don't have to do the drawings along with me. You can watch it and then you can come back and do it again, or you can watch it, pause it, catch up, and continue on. Anyway, or you can watch it, do your art project while I'm doing it. Whatever is convenient for you and works for you. It really doesn't matter to me. The other thing is I would like you to save your artwork. Your teacher might want to see it and might want you to share it with the classroom. Okay, so make sure you save your artwork. Okay, and I'm really looking forward to this. And do you guys like the birds? I do. I think they're really cute. Anyway, I'm looking forward to this, so let's get started. Okay? Our colored pencils, and we have a pencil sharpener, an eraser, and a ruler. And like I said, you may or may not want to use the ruler, and there's a good chance you won't need an eraser, but in case you want to have an eraser, it's kind of nice to have. And then always keep your pencil sharpener close by, because once you start coloring, these pencils can really need to get sharpened, okay? So I'm going to put everything over to the side, and also I have this this cup that I'm going to be using for the color wheel. So I've pre-drawn our worksheet for today, and what I'd like you to do is grab some paper. And just a helpful hint here, if you grab like 2 or 3 pieces of paper, you'll have a better surface to draw on top of. It'll be a softer surface. If you just put the paper right down on the table, that it will be sort of hard, and it will be hard to get some blending going. So just grab a couple pieces of paper. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is to put your pencils in the color spectrum, and put your the black, brown, and white pencils over to the side. We'll be using those, but not for doing the color banding. So how this will look is red, orange, yellow, green, light blue, blue, and purple. Okay, and that's what's here. So on your piece of paper, I want you to just do some color samples of each one of these pencils like I did. I did the red, orange, orange, yellow, yellow, green, green, light blue, blue, and purple, just to see what they look like. And it's as simple as that, okay? So take a little bit of time. You can pause the video right now and just do that so you get to know your pencils. And even though you think you know your pencils, or you've been drawing with pencils for a long time, it's a good time now because every pencil pack, the colors are a little bit different. So you will get to see what colors you have in your box, and also you can use this as a reference. So if you are doing a later drawing that we'll be doing together, you might want to look back at your color sample and just see, you know, what does that orange really look like, and then, you know, what does the orange look like if I put yellow on top of it, okay? So after you've done that little bit right there, I want you to take your template that you grabbed, or if you're going to draw your circle freehand, go ahead and lay your template down on your paper and take the black pencil and go ahead and draw a circle around your template. So I've done it right there. I used that as the template to make the circle. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be drawing a color chart with our colored pencils just to get a nice color chart going. And this you can just use as your reference sheet for future drawings, okay? Now, one of the tricks here is that we have 12 pencils in the pencil pack, but we're only going to be using 9 of the colors. So we need to turn this circle into 9 little triangles. And the best way to do that is just to give it a nice guesstimate. And first, go ahead and put a dot in the middle of your circle and draw your line, your first line, down to that dot. And then kind of estimate where your next line should be. You can follow along with me. I would put it right about there. And then your next line will be about like that. Okay? So you have now 3 big sections. And to get those 9 triangles out of those 3 sections, you're going to be adding 2 lines in between each one of these big sections. So now you have 3 boxes, 3 triangles. You can do 2 more lines in that section and 2 more lines in this section. And now you have 9 triangles for each one of these colors. And what I want you to do is to take your colored pencils in the color spectrum and start coloring. So go ahead and just pick out put your pencils in the color range that they are supposed to be in. The red, orange, orange, yellow, yellow, green, green, blue, dark blue, and purple. And pick up the red, and let's just go ahead and color one of the triangles red. And you don't have to do this neatly, but if you could do it neatly, that would be better for you, to look at a neat color wheel. So go ahead and color in the red and put the red aside, and then grab your red orange, and the triangle that's right next to your red, go ahead and color it. Just color it in. And you're going to be doing this all across in the color range that they go in. So the next color will be orange. Pick up your orange and color it in. And after the orange comes yellow. Pick up the yellow and just color it in. And then after the yellow is the yellow-green. And if you color around the round part of the circle, you'll have a nice edge to come up to. So I don't know if you saw what I did. After the yellow-green is the dark green. So what I mean is if you color around the edge of the circle and then color in, then your pencil can come down to that colored in edge nice and neatly, okay? And then the next color is light blue. So color that edge in, and then go ahead and color. And if you are having a hard time catching up with me, go ahead and pause the video and color, 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 and then just come back to it, okay? And then the dark blue, so do the edge, and then color, color. And you know, these colored pencils that you got in your school pack, they're really nice pencils. I really like them. They're a good quality. You can do them really dark or really light. So after the dark blue is the purple, and that's your final color. So that's a good amount of colors, and you can do all kinds of stuff. And then what I like to do, just to make it look a little neater, is you can take your black pencil and make those lines a little darker so they really stand out. And you can go around your circle. And you can do this later if you want, if you don't want to do it now. But see how making that dark line around the circle, it kind of makes all the colors look really pretty. And you can just go slowly. And there you go. Okay. Okay, so now we have one of our little subjects done there. That's a color wheel. And that gives you a good idea of how vibrant that box of colors is. So what I want you to do now is like I've told you, before we met, I went ahead and pre-drew all these boxes. And what you can do is you can take your black pencil and you can freehand 9 little boxes. And they can be 9 boxes that are, you know, anywhere on the page or in these 3 rows where it looks, you know, kind of neat and structured. If you don't feel comfortable drawing them freehand, you can use a ruler and draw with your ruler 9 little boxes. So drawing them freehand is perfectly fine. If you want to use a lighter pencil and draw 9 boxes and then take your black pencil and draw over the lighter pencil, you can do that too. Any way to get 9 little boxes on this piece of paper. And I'm sure you can do it. It's a pretty easy thing to get done. So now what I want you to do in this very first box is I want you to grab the 2 blue pencils, okay? And I want you to first use the light blue pencil and just go ahead and draw a line across, not smack in the middle, a little higher than the middle, and color that top part in. And you don't need to like color it all in. You can leave some white like I just did. So there's some white in there. And then with your darker blue pencil, do the same thing. Come down and don't do the whole thing with, you know, instead of going from edge to edge all dark blue, just leave some white in there, okay? And then with your white pencil or the yellow pencil, it's your choice, color the whole thing over. And it blends the blues together. It kind of makes a little bit of a green, and it also just blends the blue. It looks kind of cool. And you can go both directions if you want. That gives you an idea of some cool things you can do with these pencils. Now see, that could be a sunset at the ocean. You can go back and add some more blue to the sky. Some more blue to what I think of this as like maybe the ocean. Do a little bit more. Kind of looks like a sunset. Okay, so that's one little little thumbnail sketch. The next is I want you to grab the orange and the red, orange, and the red. And I want you to do the same thing. We're going to be going down this box with the 3 colors. So start at the top and just go all the way across, horizontally across that box, and do 1/3 of that box like I'm doing in orange, and then switch to the orange red and do the next section in this orange red. This orange red in this box of colors is, it's almost a red. It's not too red orange, but once you put it next to the red, you really see the difference. And then grab your red and do the bottom section just all red. And you can do the edges like that and come over to it. Oops. See what happened? My pencil, the lead broke, and I have my pencil sharpener right here. And these things happen. I might have dropped my pencil at some point. So go ahead and color your red all the way in. And then what I would do is I would take my orange and I would go all the way over all of these. And you can see what happens. It sort of blends the colors together. And you can also put some white over it. The white pencil will really blend these colors together. And it's sort of a subtle look, but if you look closely, you'll see that the color is sort of blended into the paper. And that's something you can do with your pencils right there. The next thing I want you to do, it's very fun to do this, is to pick up your light blue pencil and draw a whole bunch all the way across some lines that go straight down, just like this, like they're bars on this piece of paper. Just go all the way down from the top to the bottom till you get all the way across, okay? And then take the darker blue one and go across the other way and draw lines all the way down from top to bottom. And if you don't do straight lines, that's fine too. Okay? Now take a color that's completely the opposite of those, like orange, and now go diagonally. So almost like from corner to corner, all the way down. Okay? And then you can even do one more color. So what color should we do? Maybe the darker orange, and go the opposite direction. You can pick your colors here. It doesn't have to be the ones that I picked. But you can really see how you could really do some fun things with that. Okay, look at how that is a really interesting thing to do there. The next thing that I want you to do in this next box is I want you to take your black pencil and I want you to draw a series of little half circles all over. So what I mean by that is I'm starting out like that, and then I'm going to follow that in these half circles and do like 4 of those half circles, and then change the direction altogether, like go real big and do all the way down to the bottom, okay? And do that all the way across. So I might want this one to go like this. You see what I'm doing? I'm just drawing a whole bunch of like half circles all over. And this one I maybe want to start up here. And then I might want this one to go like this. And then wherever there was some that maybe you needed to fill in, you can fill in. And then this one could be one inside there. So you're doing a whole bunch of little lines like that. And all you're doing is half circles that they're meeting each other, okay? And then grab a color and get two colors that are completely the opposite of each other. Like, let's do orange. And what you want to do is you want to color every other half circle in. And you can use 3 colors if you want. You can use, you could, only use one color and leave some of these circles white, the half circles white. But I'm going to go ahead and color this whole thing in. And I'm using every other one. And it's sort of like, I don't know, it's just sort of like making your own coloring page. And you can do some really fun and interesting designs this way. And you can, you could design the, like if you're doing a report on something this year, you could use this design. Now, I'm going to go ahead and use the opposite of orange, which is purple. And I'm going to go ahead and color in the ones that are now white, all purple. And then you'll be able to see this design. It's a really fun thing to do. And it's a creative thing to do. You can, just, I'm going kind of fast, so it might look a little sloppy to you. I'm sorry about that. But just go ahead and color in all the white ones now in blue, or purple, I mean. And then after you're all done, you can go over the lines in your black pencil again, or the box. But I mean, it sort of looked good just leaving the white too, It was it's just a nice little design thing to know how to do. And if you see one that you missed, you can go back. Like I can see I missed an orange one. So I'll fill that in. There's one right here, right there, and this guy. Okay, so you can see how that could be. I mean, these are little thumbnail sketches that aren't supposed to be perfect. They're little ideas, and you can do them fast, just to see if you like doing it. Now the next thing, this next box, I want us to draw a tree. And what I want you to do is take your brown pencil and do 2 little lines like that. So they're sort of curved like that, and a curve like that. And then draw the tree, like just little half circles like that, okay? And then just go ahead and color that. And, if you want it to look realistic, do the 2 shades of green that we have and the blue for the blue sky, because you're going to be drawing a grass line. So I'm going to be using the light green for the tree. And you could make little spirally coloring circles inside this tree to make it look more like a cartoon tree. And then take the darker green pencil and draw yourself a little hillside behind it, or a flat horizon line, and go ahead and color that. Just color it any old way. And remember, these are thumbnail sketches, so they're quick, and these are just little samples of things we can do with these pencils. And then grab your brown pencil and make that trunk of the tree. And it doesn't have to be all colored in, there could be some white in that tree trunk. And then grab your blue and color in the sky. And you've got a little tree there. And you can go over it all with your black pencil. You could put some little marks in this tree up here. See all the fun things you could do with your pencils. You could have some little trees back here, grasses. Could make the side of the tree darker so it looks like it's shadowed. And then the next box I want us to draw an apple. So take your black pencil, and you all know what an apple looks like, but a good thing to do is just to start to draw a circle, but instead of making it like a complete circle, make it kind of like, you know, it sort of has like bumps on the bottom, and you know, an apple is round, but it has, you know, it has those two little bumps on the bottom where it can set on itself. And then you can draw a leaf for that apple and a stem. Okay. And that apple can also be sitting on a table, so you could put some lines behind it. And remember, don't think about this as being like perfect. You don't want it to be perfect. These are little sketches because we're just working on how these pencils are gonna, you know, help us draw. And go ahead and color in the leaf. And you could use 2 shades of green on. You could do one side light green and one side dark green. And that stem could be brown. And apples are all different colors, right? They're yellow, red, green. This one's gonna be a red one. And I'm gonna start out by using that red orange. And I'm not gonna color the whole thing in. I'm gonna leave some white like it's a shiny apple and just color, just kind of scribble, scribble. And I'm gonna also use that orange. I'm gonna add some orange highlights to it on one side. And then I'm gonna take the other red and I'm gonna make it darker on the bottom down here. And I'm just gonna leave some of that white. And then I'm going to make my table purple or blue. Let's do blue. I'm gonna do this blue. And same thing, I'm not gonna color the whole thing in. I'm gonna give it some life on the bottom, like white lines. And then since that is sitting on that table, I'm gonna go ahead and make a little bit of a shadow, and I'm gonna use the red pencil to do that. I'm not gonna use the black, I'm just gonna put some red down there like that's the shadow. And I'm gonna say that's done. And then down here in this box down here, let's just see what happens if we just do a bunch of dots. So let's color it in with the yellow because it's a nice light color, and just quickly color the whole thing in. And then take one of your pencils that's still kind of sharp, like the brown one of mine is really sharp, and just do a bunch of dots all over to see if you like that. Or maybe, you know, maybe do part of it all dots and the other part just do little lines like this. See how well that works. And maybe switch colors and, you know, pick up the blue or purple and see how it looks like dots. And how about if we do like circles, like drawn circles on part of it, just to give us like some ideas of when you're coloring a big thing, you know, like maybe you're drawing a rock in a river. Would the rock in that river, would it have little flecks of color in it? You know, like this? Or, you know, would you have like hash marks that look like that on the edge of a tree? So use this little thing just to do dots and circles and lines, and maybe even cross the lines like this. Just play with your pencils and see what kind of texture you can make with your pencils. You could do little marks like that. Just play around with your pencils. And the next one, I was just gonna have us draw a fun leaf. There's all kinds of leaves that you can draw. This one is sort of like a maple leaf, and really, an easy way to draw these leaves is they're sort of like, almost look like little fingers, and you're just going to be going around, sort of like a windy road, like that. And then the stem down the middle, and the side stems. And then work on shading and coloring. So if you're gonna do a leaf, you know, maybe part of the leaf is this green, and as the leaves start to change with the fall, they're gonna be going sort of orangey and gold. So maybe part of this leaf has got, you know, some orange in it, and maybe it's got some yellow on this side. And crossing over and seeing what happens when you blend these colors together, and drawing leaves and playing with the colors is a really good way to have something to draw with that's letting you shade like that. See how those are all shading together? You can do a little bit of a darker green. When all the leaves start changing in our neighborhoods, you know, you can go out and bring one into the house and draw the colors. And then this last one, I want to do this fun little weird thing that I think they're really fun to do. And it's sort of like this one where it's just a fun doodle, is draw some of these wavy lines like that all the way across. So just wavy lines down. And then do it the same way across, do wavy lines across. And then what you're going to be doing is you're going to be coloring those. And those I want to see. So each one of these can be a different color. And you could do, you know, red and blue, you could do orange and purple, you could do 2 different shades. But that's a fun way to make up a little color sheet for you to color. So there's 9 different things that we did in our color wheel and the color spectrum. And what I would really like you to do is just play with these pencils and get familiar with them, because we are going to be doing some drawings with these pencils. I'm going to be having you do different pictures. So there's going to be some surprises coming up and some fun things to draw. And we're going to be using some of these blending techniques, some of this technique where you leave white instead of just coloring and coloring, you're going to leave white. Some blending, some different textures. You want to know what your pencils, what the colors are. So building yourself a color wheel is really handy. I do it with everything, with every type of art supply that I use. I always make myself a color wheel, and I put colors on top of them. So besides doing this, when you do a color like the red, if you put red down and you grab your white and you go over, you can make that red really get saturated into the paper, and you can add, you know, colors on top of the red and change that red into like an orange there. And there's just a lot of fun things you can do with pencils that you can't do with a lot of supplies. So the pencils are a really fun thing to have. Anyway, next week we're going to have an actual project to do, but for right now I would like you to really play with these pencils and get familiar with them, and just look at all the fun things you can do with just colored pencils. Anyway, thank you. That was a lot of fun. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Bye.